Something happened over the Middle East that the Pentagon has not fully explained. An aircraft worth over $100 million flew a flawless mission, every system green, every weapon armed and released, every bomb tracked its target with perfect precision, and every single one of them missed. Not because of mechanical failure, not because of enemy fire, because the aircraft never knew where it actually was. According to reports from defense analysts tracking the operation, Israeli F-35's, the most advanced combat aircraft the United States has ever put in Allied hands, entered contested airspace and executed what looked, by every measurable standard, like a clean strike package. No aircraft lost, no pilots wounded, no system failures recorded. The mission data looked perfect, and that is exactly the problem. Mission commanders watching the live impact feed reportedly began aborting sorties within minutes. Strike packages worth billions, crews with thousands of hours of combined training, the most sophisticated air force in the Middle East, returned without a single confirmed objective. The IDF said nothing publicly. Washington said less. But something had gone wrong, something the official narrative is still working hard to keep out of your feed. Here is what they are not explaining. The first theory Western defense media reached for was the obvious one. Equipment malfunction. Navigational error. The fog of war doing what it always does, introducing just enough chaos to derail even the most precise operation. It sounds reasonable. It has happened before. Even fifth-generation aircraft carry inherited vulnerabilities. But here is the problem. Malfunction is chaotic. It produces scattered results, random deviations in random directions. What appeared across multiple sorties that night was not random. Every weapon system drifted the same direction, the same margin, the same category of wrong, over and over again. That is not malfunction. That is a pattern, and patterns have architects. The second explanation circulating in closed defense circles was GPS jamming. Iran flooding the frequency band with electromagnetic noise, forcing pilot alerts, triggering emergency navigation protocols. A crude but proven tactic one Russia has deployed over Ukraine, one North Korea has used to disrupt South Korean civilian aviation. Jamming is real. Jamming works. But jamming has one unavoidable signature. It announces itself. The moment jamming begins, cockpit systems flag it. Pilots get warnings. Mission commanders know immediately that GPS integrity has been compromised, and they adapt. Jamming is loud. What reportedly happened over that airspace that night produced no warnings, no alerts, no anomaly flags of any kind. This was not loud. This was completely, perfectly silent. And in electronic warfare, that silence is not a relief. That silence is the danger. Take a breath. Because what appears to have happened based on what mission debrief data suggests is something that should fundamentally change how you think about modern warfare. Iran did not jam the F-35's. Iran spoofed them. This is the dangerous part. Understand the difference. Jamming disrupts. It breaks the signal. Systems know something is wrong. Spoofing replaces. It injects false signals so precise, so carefully calibrated, that the aircraft registers nothing abnormal. Every system continues operating normally. The navigation suite reads clean. The weapons computers calculate with full confidence. The pilots saw exactly what they expected to see. They were just not where they thought they were. Iranian electronic warfare teams reportedly deployed a distributed network of mobile transmitters positioned across western Iran, eastern Syria, and the Bekaa Valley in Lebanon, building an overlapping zone of false GPS coverage that extended deep into Israeli operational airspace. No single transmitter, no fixed position, a distributed web. Every coordinate the F-35's processed had been silently, invisibly replaced with a constructed lie, and the pilots never saw it coming. Now here's the part that no one expected. This capability did not emerge overnight. In 2011, Iranian forces captured an American RQ-170 Sentinel reconnaissance drone, nearly intact. The U.S. initially called it a malfunction. What appears to have actually occurred based on subsequent independent analysis is that Iranian engineers fed that drone's GPS navigation, a false signal convincing it that it was approaching its home base in Afghanistan. It descended, slowly, gently, and landed itself inside Iranian territory. While American operators watched the telemetry in real time and reportedly could not understand what they were seeing, that single aircraft handed Iranian engineers a blueprint. The GPS receiver architecture, the authentication thresholds, the exact signal fidelity levels that American military systems use to distinguish real from false. What they learned from that drone they spent the next decade turning into a weapon, built specifically for this moment. Here is what the F-35 brochure never told you. Beneath the stealth coating, the sensor fusion, the classified avionics that make it the most capable combat aircraft ever fielded, This aircraft runs on GPS, not as a feature, as a foundation. Navigation GPS, weapons guidance GPS, formation coordination GPS, strike corridor geometry GPS. Remove it and you do not have a degraded aircraft. You have a $100 million machine whose pilot cannot fully trust where he is or where his weapons are going. Iran did not remove it. It bent it. Silently. By a few hundred meters. Consistently. Invisibly. Across an entire operational zone. And this is where things change completely. While Israeli F-35's flew through a bubble of fabricated coordinates, Iranian systems reportedly navigated with full accuracy using Russian GLONASS and Chinese Beidou satellite positioning. Same airspace, same moment. Iran was seeing clearly while Israel was flying blind, and Israel had no idea. According to analysts tracking the aftermath, Israeli Air Command eventually recognized the signature of what had happened, stood down active sorties, and stopped releasing precision munitions into empty ground. The F-35's did not lose a dogfight. They lost the battlefield itself before a single target was struck. For Israel, this is not a tactical setback. It is a doctrinal crisis. Israel's entire military architecture is built on speed. A nation of 9 million, surrounded, with no strategic depth, cannot survive a long war. Every conflict must end fast, decisively, on terms that restore deterrence before the next confrontation begins. Air power is what makes that possible. When pilots cannot trust their coordinates, when weapons commanders cannot verify impact data, when abort orders arrive after ordnance has already been released, the 70-year doctrine that has kept Israel alive begins to fracture. Iran did not degrade Israeli air power. Iran attacked the certainty it depends on. Now scale this up. For Washington, and this is the part the Pentagon cannot say publicly, the crisis runs far deeper than one theater. The American way of war since 1991 rests on a single assumption: GPS works. Every precision-guided weapon in the U.S. arsenal, every network-centric operation, every joint terminal attack platform, the entire integrated architecture that makes American military power lethal from the Pacific to Eastern Europe, all of it assumes the coordinates are real. Iran just proved that assumption is not guaranteed, not in a simulation, not in a war game, operationally. Against the most advanced aircraft the U.S. has ever exported to a combat ally, in a live war zone, with results that forced a mission stand down. Now ask the question every close-room briefing is asking right now. Russia has been developing GPS denial for years. The evidence from Ukraine is documented and consistent. China's electronic warfare program is arguably more sophisticated than Iran's, sustained at a scale Iran could never approach. North Korea has disrupted South Korean civilian GPS on multiple occasions. If Iran can do this, what can China do? What happens the day Russia deploys this against American forces? The Gulf states are already recalculating. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, nations that spent decades building their entire defense posture around American platforms and American technological guarantees, they are watching this in real time, and they are asking whether those guarantees still hold. Iran won this round not with better aircraft, not with longer-range missiles, with a deeper understanding of where the modern battlefield actually exists, the electromagnetic spectrum, not the sky, the spectrum. And the manual Iran just wrote, according to analysts, is already being studied in Moscow, Beijing, and Pyongyang. Emergency upgrades are being accelerated. Alternative navigation protocols are being pushed to active squadrons. Some of this will restore partial capability. Partial. The F-35 that flew blind over the Middle East is not a story about one failed mission. It is a signal transmitted clearly to every adversary watching that the foundational assumption of Western air dominance can be attacked, cheaply, invisibly, without firing a single shot. The age of GPS-dependent air superiority did not end in a dogfight. It ended in silence, in the gap between where an F-35 thought it was and where it actually was. Iran engineered that gap, and closing it will take far longer than any government involved is prepared to admit. So here is the question that should stay with you long after this video ends. Iran did this, a nation under decades of sanctions, cut off from Western technology, outspent by its adversaries by a factor of 10. With patience, with engineers, with time. What are the adversaries who have all of those things plus unlimited budgets and 15 years of preparation? What are they building right now? And what are we assuming they haven't already finished?